Meanwhile, you have a team like the Bucks that sure don't have the top end talent, but they're more cohesive. They're a better defensive team. They have Giannis, who I believe is the best player in the world.
I do too.
You know, like
I do too.
Yeah,
He's my I love him. I love everything about him. I think the American sports media crushes him because he's from Greece. And I think they don't pay the other dude on the Nuggets that much attention because he's not. He's not in their eyes like an American person playing basketball. But the NBA,
and also they're in small markets too. I think that also factored in.
That definitely could also be it. I think though the NBA loves it because they're both international, like huge marketing tools for the international thing. I think when the NBA changed that rule, the whole like running to the basket and just throwing your hands in the air so you can go to the free throw line, I think the NBA changed that to make the game a little bit easier for Giannis because a lot of players were able to get a good amount of points doing that. But then they couldn't as easily. Where Giannis, he didn't need that rule. The guy's a fucking wrecking ball. He can drive it. Like once he's in the paint, you probably already lost. He's probably getting the ball in the hoop.
Yeah, you have to foul him. That's the thing with Giannis. You have to foul him when he gets in the paint. And like, and it's. I'm not gonna lie. I think the way fans, and it's not even just the media. I think some fans disrespect him too because like. And it all started when James Harden said what he said about him. Like when James Harden said, man, I wish I was 7 foot tall and I could just run and dunk. That takes no skill at all. I got to learn how to actually have skill. I was like, man, now niggas are going to disrespect. Yeah, oh, my bad. I didn't mean to say that, but people are just going to disrespect Giannis. I was just like, man, people are going to just disrespect Giannis. And
that's what you said. I didn't even hear what you said, man.
Oh no, I said niggas. I said the N-word. My fault.
This is my man. You're good. I've been saying fucking shit. Like, no. This is an explicit podcast. I don't mind.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I was just like, man, like niggas are just gonna disrespect Giannis, you know. And I remember, like after they lost to the Heat, and people still say to this day, Giannis has no skill. And I'm just like, how can you say that?
Dude, this man who the whole fucking NBA world was against. He first off hyperextended his knee going into the NBA finals. He then gets his free throws under control in a way in the NBA finals, and then to clinch the NBA Finals, to clinch a title, he scores 50 points. This motherfucker literally went full Wilt Chamberlain against a Suns team that was built to win an NBA title in this era of basketball, you know, shooting threes and analytics and all that shit. This guy, like, look at his stat line in the NBA Finals. The man, he literally was Wilt Chamberlain. And by the way, when I say Wilt Chamberlain, like, when people ask, like, who's the greatest basketball player of all time? It's like, listen, no one's ever going to agree on this. But I will say this. Go look at the stats that Wilt Chamberlain had when he actually cares and wants to play basketball. The man's just a freak of nature. Giannis is a freak of freaking nature. And he won an NBA title, and he went through the fucking ringer to do it. With a bad knee at first, going into the finals.
Yeah, I agree. I think Giannis is the modern day Wilt Chamberlain. Like, I honestly think,
man, dude,
if you put Wilt Chamberlain in today's league, he'd be Giannis. He'd be what Giannis is. Obviously, I'm not saying Wilt is like, back then and had the handles Giannis was, but any great player in any era is going to adapt. And Wilt today would adapt. He'd get some more handles on his game. And you can even find tape of Wilt shooting. You can find it on YouTube. He was shooting sky hooks in practice from the 3-point line and making them. And like, Wilt is one of the most dominant players in all of sports, and his athleticism, he's probably the best athlete in the history of the NBA.
He did track and field. He did the high jump. The man was he was a God-given athlete, you know? And
like his highlights, I remember, like, some of my friends, they think his highlights are like paid actors because of just how much he dominated them. And to be fair, that era was not very good, but like, just if you just watch the tape, it doesn't make sense the things that he could actually do. Like he could dunk it from like being so far behind the backboard and underneath it. He was crazy vertical. You know, he's one of the few guys that could actually block Kareem skyhook. Like he's just insane as an athlete. And I think Giannis is very, very similar to Wilt. I think if you put Giannis in that era, he's Wilt Chamberlain. Like he's literally going to do exactly the same things as Wilt Chamberlain.
It's funny, people in the sports media world, they should really take a step back and look at human physics and like human biology, because everyone in the sports world acts like humans from the 50s and 60s. The way we are now, we like evolved 200,000 years worth of evolution. Like they talk about the people back then as if they're not the athletes of today. It's like, do you understand how human evolution works? Like, do you think we have 9 eyes right now and like 18 fingers? It's like, dude, the reason, 2 things or 3 things. There's a lot more athletic people in the sports world today because there's a lot more money to be made in sports. A lot of the people back then had to work other jobs while playing professional sports. 2, the regiment they're on is crazy to keep their bodies really athletic. And 3, the technology we have has changed. The equipment and medicine and supplements and vitamins we like, dude, that's what's changed in the past, 50, 60 years. The people have barely changed. So if you were to have a Wilt Chamberlain be born out the womb today and grow up taking all the fucking things that people can take, like you said, he'd probably just grow up to be Giannis.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree, because like that athleticism literally would kill. Like literally his athletic numbers, this vertical 40-yard dash, that stuff would be it's crazy now. He still has the highest vertical of all time in the NBA.
That's insane.
Like I think it's like 48 inches. Like insane. the guy was literally the Slender Man. Like he was literally Mr. Fantastic. Like it doesn't make any sense. The things that he could actually do. That's why I say Wilt Chamberlain's not real, because it doesn't make sense what he could actually do. Him and even Bill Russell was a world-class athlete also. Now granted, Bill Russell, I firmly believe, and I'm not trying to be mean, but I think Bill Russell, granted he was a great leader and winner, but I think he'd be Draymond Green in today's era.
No, dude, that's disgusting. That's awful.
No. Don't sleep on Draymond. Don't sleep on Draymond. Don't sleep on Draymond. Draymond's good.
Sleeping on Draymond, but I don't, dude. No.
That's not a bad thing though.
That's a terrible thing.
That's not a bad thing. Think about it. Bill Russell, even back then, was not a good scorer. He was not a good scorer.
Yeah, but defense actually meant something back then.
Hey, his defense was good. Hey, but Draymond's a good defender. Draymond's a great defender. He's an elite defender.
I never said that. I never said he wasn't. But Bill Russell was the best player on a team that won 11 championships. Draymond's...
man, no, 8 teams in the league back then, bro. Those players, bro. I'm telling you right now, bro. Because me and you could walk in that league and we'd be one of the best players. I'm so serious. Me and you could become the next. We'd be the Shaq and Kobe if we walked in that era. I'm so serious. Hey, no, bro. That's another guy. Bob Cousy stinks, bro. He's not good, man.
You are disgusting. What is going on right now, bro?
I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be mean, bro. But some of those guys would not, dude. Jamie, be honest.
Why? Because Bob Cousy looks like your uncle who's drunk on Thanksgiving.
Okay, I'll say this about Bob Cousy.
What?
Bob Cousy, if you go watch his tape, he was doing some things that was pretty like revolutionary for that time. But outside of like the greats, because I think all the greats can translate their game. Let's be real. Those random starters and those occasional all-stars, they wouldn't even make the NBA in today's league, bro.
What about Pistol Pete Maravich?
Definitely ahead of his time. I can see him. He's great.
That is the great ahead. He also looks like Dimitri Martin, but he was ahead of his time.
Yeah, I firmly agree with Pistol Pete. He's ahead of his time. Jerry West, he was shooting from like the 3-point line when there was no 3-point line. He's ahead of his time. Elgin Baylor, all-time athlete. Like the greats are always going to stand out.
You just called Bill Russell Draymond Green.
Hey, but there's no... Actually, you know what? Ben Wallace.
Ooh, I do like Ben Wallace, man. I think Ben
Okay.
and Rasheed Wallace should both be in the Hall of Fame. I think Rasheed Wallace is a highly underrated NBA player.
Yeah, I think Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace is in now. I think
Is he?
He just got in. Yeah, he just got in recently.
Oh, okay.
I actually completely agree because Ben Wallace. I was actually really annoyed that he wasn't in for the longest because I don't get how nobody from that Pacers or that Pistons team didn't make it for a good
It's because people don't defense, man. Like people forget that defense like is part of the game. They really do.
Yeah.
I know it's
And-
weird
and-
now because it's a lot of 3-point shooting, but at least in 2004, it was highly still about offense and defense.